We're all gonna die tonight. Isn't that right?
As we open the menu, we meet a variety of posh and pretentious characters. Tyler Ledford and his date Margot Mills visit a fine dining restaurant owned by celebrity chef Julian Slowik. What ensues in the restaurant is dark, disturbing, and packed with frightening metaphors, but we'll get to that. Viewers of the menu often leave the film confused, pondering upon what it could all mean. They replay the frightening scenes of the second and third acts in their heads, lost in the gory violence, forgetting that the first few scenes of the menu reveal everything we need to know to understand Chef Slowik's intentions. The dichotomy between Tyler and Margot is apparent in the film's opening scene. Tyler condemns Margot for smoking because it'll ruin her palate. Margot finds his seriousness about the matter amusing.
Margot, tonight is huge, okay? The flavor profiles, it's all super delicate. When you smoke, you ruin your ability to be able to appreciate it. Please, please.
Tyler is a foodie, but he's elitist about it. He minimizes others' appreciation for food and believes his opinions of food are better than others. Margot, on the other hand, is far more humble. She prefers simplicity and thus starkly contrasts everyone else on the island. The other guests include food critics, has-been movie stars, business owners, and wealthy regulars to the restaurant.
We have reached the base camp of Mount Bullshit. This is insane.
As Margot jokes, the island is very much so a palace for refined society and all its pretentious attributes. There's almost nothing real about it, despite being a visual presentation of nature's beauty. The guests enter the restaurant and it's incredibly cold, at least from the perspective of Margot, who serves as the eyes of us normies who don't have $1,250 to spend on a single meal. They're immediately told not to take pictures of their food.
Chef strongly feels that the beauty in his creations lies in their ephemeral nature.
Every move of the chefs is deliberate. They produce works of art and are undeniably talented on their own, but they're led by the threatening head chef who commands them like his very own obedient little soldiers. Slowik watches over the guests like a hawk and speaks about the food with an arrogance that's normal to everyone but Margot. It's intimidatingly ostentatious, but you're able to force yourself to suspend your disbelief for just a little longer.
Be mindful, but do not eat. Our menu is too precious for that.
You'll notice that Slowik has an acute awareness of Margot. He glances at her repeatedly because she wasn't on the guest list and wasn't meant to face the fate designed by the full-course meal. But he also takes note of how she isn't entertained by the food he serves. He's unnerved by this. People pay an arm and a leg to eat his food. How dare she not? Slowik introduces each course with a theatrical monologue, and it quickly becomes evident that he holds a grudge for everyone at the restaurant. The tortillas he serves are designed with images that either expose the guests' secrets or embarrass them. Affairs, embezzlement, greedy career moves, Slowik has it out for everyone, except for Margot, but that doesn't mean she's immune to the atrocities of the night. The culinary journey that the guests are brought upon becomes even more sinister with the fourth course. After Slowik gives a monologue about the pressure that chefs are faced as they give their entire lives to please strangers, the sous chef commits suicide. This is the first of many deaths that will take place over the night. The meal ends with the murder of the restaurant's entire staff and all of the guests as they're set aflame for dessert. This was always Slowik's plan. The staff were in on it, even Tyler knew of it. So what's going on? What does this all mean?
I mean, the game is trying to guess what the overarching theme of the entire meal is going to be. You won't know till the end.
To understand this overarching theme, we need to break down the psychopathy of Chef Slowik. We learn that Slowik came from humble beginnings. He worked his way up in the culinary world from being a cook at a cheap burger restaurant. He once held so much passion for cooking, such enjoyment in creating the art of food, but that's been taken away as he's moved up in his career and prepared food for more and more wealthy individuals. Slowik identifies his guests as the cause of the elitism and pretentiousness of the fine dining industry. In his perspective, the rich are gluttonous, egotistical, and patronizing. They're snobbish in how they view food, but are hypocritical in how they fail to truly appreciate it. The clientele in the restaurant's angel investor, who he also kills, have turned Hawthorne and the fine dining industry as a whole into a show of class. They've widened the socioeconomic gap in dining and turned food into a display of power and ego, rather than an enjoyable experience. By playing these torturous games with them, he punishes them for the pressure that this elitist society has brought to his life.
Do you hear it? Do you hear that silence? Listen, can you hear it? That silence means I'm free.
Slowik's monologues describe his frustrations and loss of happiness, but it's hard to really understand what he's saying until he clearly spells it out to Margot, finally undressing himself from his pompous act.
You belong here, with your own breed.
And what breed is that?
With the shit shovelers. You thought I couldn't tell? Oh, I know a fellow service industry worker when I see one.
It's then clarified that Margot, actually named Erin, is a prostitute, hired by Tyler to accompany him to the restaurant, which explains her dissimilarity to the rest of the arrogant guests. Margot understands what it's like to have your love for your work stripped away, and thus knows how to appeal to Slowik's inner emotions to become the sole survivor of the film. Remember that first scene we discussed earlier?
Babe, please don't smoke. It'll kill your palate.
Then my palate will die happy.
Her dialogue here foreshadows the ending of the film perfectly. Margot escapes the restaurant alive by calling out the chef for the haughty nature of his food.
Every dish you've served tonight has been some intellectual exercise rather than something you want to sit and enjoy. When I eat your food, it tastes like it was made with no love.
By this, Margot is bringing Slowik back to his roots, reminding him of his humble beginnings and the love for cooking that propelled his career. At one point, Slowik's intentions with cooking was to serve people food they'd enjoy. But over time, as he's been affected by the overbearing fine dining industry, he's turned into everything he's despised. In all his hate and search for vengeance, he's lost sight of what food means to him. Margot asks him to prepare just a simple cheeseburger for her.
A real cheeseburger. Not some fancy deconstructed avant bullshit, a real cheeseburger.
Having Slowik cook that burger evokes a nostalgia in him for the simpler days. It reminds him that his intention for the evening was to punish the elite, not Margot, who grew up with little and still appreciates food for what it is, not as a symbol of status or luxuriousness. And for that little reignition of joy in cooking, Margot is allowed to leave the restaurant safely. Chef Slowik goes on to set himself, the guests, the staff, and the entire restaurant ablaze in a giant human s'more. He believes that they're being liberated and purified. But this scene also emphasizes the themes of class divide within the film. As s'mores are ironically not pretentious, they're actually notably connected to the fun, loving, and communal process of their preparation. Therefore, everyone in the restaurant is brought to their end through a blatant symbol of the authenticity and humbleness they've been lacking or deprived of. The menu is an examination of consumer culture and how the wealthy can turn something into an exclusive experience, making it superficial and draining it of enjoyment.
I haven't desired to cook for someone in ages. And one does miss that feeling.
Additionally, this commercialism provoked by the rich further divides the socioeconomic classes. Having been a victim of this mentality for so long, Slowik has gathered a team of devoted chefs who have also been irreparably broken down by the harsh service industry. And he's targeted a group of individuals who are so caught up in their unethical or problematic personal issues that they don't even know how to escape who they are or the restaurant. Slowik does his best to destroy what he can of the pretentious culture that ruins the souls of so many, but his reach can only extend so far. We can now only hope that this gruesome film registers Slowik's feelings in its viewers' minds. Do not let your greediness and materialism change how you see the simpler things in life. Appreciate everything for what it is, not just what it could represent.